backwoods, maple syrup, and tree cutting service at 628-7481. Whether you need a whole tree taken down with the stump removed, or you have some questionable branches that need to be addressed, Backwood Tree Service is the most reasonable way and professional way to get the job done. They're fully insured and ready to serve you. 628-7481. And while you got them on the phone, ask about the real maple syrup. Season's coming up, and you won't want to miss out. Backwood Tree Service and Maple Syrup Company, 628-7481. Listen closely to these symptoms: inflammation, nausea, hot flashes, headaches, joint pain, muscle pain, back pain, trouble sleeping, cramps, irritated skin. You know, this is just a partial list, but if you said you have any of those symptoms, you might benefit from the power of CBD. What is CBD? Well, it's all the good taken out of the hemp plant, the marijuana plant, all the good taken out, but none of the bad. Now, you won't get high from it, you won't fail a drug test, but what you will do is find relief from these and many more symptoms. And it comes in a variety of applications. Well, there's oils, there's gummies, there's candies, there's vapes, there's rubs, there's soaks. The list goes on, and as a matter of fact, it's too numerous for me to mention here. But I'll tell you what you do. If you stop in at the Wellness Park Pharmacy, 86th and Buffalo Avenue, see Bob there, tell him you want to look in the green room. What's the green room? Well, it's a room dedicated to all CBD products. And Bob is a registered pharmacist, so he can explain to you how CBD works and what dosage is right for you. Now, you could buy CBDs in other places, but you really want to go to a registered pharmacist. You're going to be surprised and amazed, and you know what? You're going to love this product. CBD. Stop in Wellness Park, 86th and Buffalo Avenue, or call 260-1918. Oh, incidentally, if you have an animal that's suffering too, maybe joint pain or anxiety, CBD products works well for them, and there's some made especially for your animals. You can check that out too in the Wellness Park Green Room.
The opinions expressed on NiagaraBroadcastNetwork.com are those of the host and the guest, not of management or the sponsors.
Well, what?
Keep going gluten-free. What's today? Friday, Monday, Wednesday?
No, I work midnights.
Yeah.
I work at midnights. That's not got to do with.
Yeah, it does.
What's another voice we hear? Oh, it's John Accardo.
I'm here.
John is back. Finally.
John is back.
We've waited a long time to get you back.
Yes,
here.
yes, you have. Yeah, it's been a few years, but I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
He just can't shake politics.
I can't.
Every time he's out, what did they say in Godfather 3? They pull me back in.
Pull me back in.
So you're back in.
I am back in.
Running
yes,
for?
I am for county legislature, the 5th legislative district.
Which is?
Which takes
is
in
the entire town of Niagara, the section of Duval in the city of Niagara Falls, east of Hyde Park, Glenwood Avenue over to Route 31, and a few streets in downtown Niagara Falls, Ashland, Chilton, and my home street of Orchard Parkway.
Wow,
that
that's
comprises the 5th legislative.
If you draw it, what form does it take?
I don't know. It takes like this, like that, like this.
Well, now, so you're running for Jay Zona's spot.
That's correct.
And Jay Zona left because why?
He got elected as the county Democratic chairman, and I don't think he felt like he could do both jobs.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just guessing.
And you're still running the
I am
Accardo agency.
I am. I'm still running, and I'm still working.
Yeah.
Even at my age.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Why would old people want to keep?
Yeah,
right.
Nah.
So, but why are you running for
Well, you know what?
legislature.
You know why? Because I think it's a great opportunity. And as Rose said, I was, really, my political career was retired and it was over with. The Republicans came and asked me if, I'd be interested in running for this job. And since it was an open seat, in other words, you're not running against an incumbent, I thought it was a great opportunity, to do that. And I think I can help the city of Niagara Falls out by representing that district, which comprises of those areas in the city, from the majority in the county legislature.
I think you have this in your blood, though. I mean, you want to be.
You have to have it in your blood.
Yeah.
You got it. You got it. It's in your blood.
You've run for different offices.
Right. Haven't had a lot of luck. I mean, I haven't had a lot of luck with the third candidate that always seems to pop up someplace along the line.
Well,
Is there a
But,
third
hey,
candidate this time?
No, there isn't. No.
so as a legislator, if you are lucky enough to win this, what are your plans? What can you do? Where will you be? You'll be in the majority if you win.
That's
because you're
correct.
running as a Republican.
That's correct. Well, Sal, this district here, the 5th District, has not had majority representation since Jay Zone has been there. And I don't know exactly how long he's been there. I'm going to say 6 years, 8 years. I'm sure somebody out there knows. And he's been in the minority, for that amount of time. So that district has never had the opportunity to be in the majority. And I think, from being in the majority, I think I can lend a hand. I can have a seat at the table, in other words. When the city goes into 2020, we're going to have a new mayor. We're going to have some new members on the council. I can have a seat at the table to try to help the city through, some very difficult, financial situations that they're going to come up against in the very near future. Near meaning weeks
John,
or days, actually.
And as I always do, John, and people are afraid to come on the show because of it, you say I could help the people.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to do that?
Well, the first thing is, and I know this sounds cliche, and I know it's a buzzword that many politicians use, and I know people have probably come on the show and use the same words. But economics now, have forced, are going to force the city, into looking at different ways of doing things, and primarily delivering services. Okay, so I'd like to convene a committee at the county level and get all the other towns, villages, cities in Niagara County together and find out ways where we can consolidate services or share services, buy in bulk, do things instead of doing city by city or village by village, do it as a group.
Have you analyzed it though, John? Because people are telling me, the people are saying we're going to do share services. Well, they say they're not going to share. They're not going to share snow plowing, for instance, because the unions are not going to let them. We're not going to share police services because the unions are not going to let them.
Right.
Well, we might be able to buy toilet paper with the town of Niagara. How much is those type of things going to save?
Well, here's the thing, Sal, and like I said earlier, it's economics, okay, that's going to force this situation, because we are looking at. And if you add the numbers up, the average home in the city of Niagara Falls, okay, could see as much as a 15% tax increase if what was reported in the paper and on Facebook or wherever goes through. So you know what? Now economics are going to force the situation because we'll be able. We're going to have to deliver services in a more efficient manner in the city. If we want to ever
again, though,
because but here, let's go back to the other side of the coin. Okay, who are you going to lay off?
I don't know.
I mean, are you going to lay off 20 firemen, 20 policemen?
I'm not hearing
the snowplow drivers. I mean, who's going to get laid off?
Jen, I'm not
who's going to
hearing.
do the work?
I'm not hearing from anybody who we're going to lay off or what we're going to do. I'm hearing. I'm going to reach out and talk to this guy. I'm going to offer this. I'm going to try to get shared services. But nobody's saying, I've talked to Lee Wallace from the town of Niagara, and we could buy toilet paper and
Sure.
accounting services and put them together, which the unions are not going to be involved in. We could do that, and we're going to save $15,000 a year.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a number or a monetary solution
Right.
yet from anybody.
Right, but I'm saying to you that I'll need to get elected, so I can speak from the majority in the county, and, go to these towns and villages as a county legislator and say, I'm sure you're interested in saving taxes. I know the city of Niagara Falls is. And the adage that I've always lived by is if the city of Niagara Falls is healthy, the county of Niagara is
I've
healthy.
heard this for years, John, and people have said the same thing. We're going to share. From the galley days,
I agree.
I know we're going to share.
And again, I'll say, I preface this all by saying, I know you've heard this before, and they are buzzwords, but I'm telling you now, the economics now are going to force the hand,
Right.
force this situation.
Something's got to give.
Look, Sal, you've got expenses here, and you've got revenues down here.
Yeah, right.
Well, what do you do?
I don't know.
You raise taxes.
We look to guys like you to say, here's what we're going to do.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, right
That's
now,
I'm
what they
saying.
said in the paper,
Let's talk about what we said in the paper
garbage
today.
fee,
I know.
raise taxes.
Yeah,
Oy.
they're talking about raising garbage fees. And I talked to one person, I says, there is no other game in town. Modern's the only person we can negotiate with. How is that possible?
I don't know. I thought American Refuge picked up waste, city refuge. And maybe they don't. I may be mistaken about that. But I would be surprised if they were the only person that you could go to. I mean, does every city and village in the county of Niagara use Modern as a pickup?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know either.
I'm talking to people, and that's one person who is involved in the negotiation said they're the only people that will pick up garbage.
Okay, so what happens if the city of Niagara Falls, the town of Niagara, and the village of Lewiston, say for instance, put together an RFP, a single RFP, instead of putting together 3 RFPs, and go to Modern with it and say, here, give us your best deal.
But are they going to Modern anyway now?
Well, they are, but maybe we'll get a better deal if there's 1 RFP instead of 3.
So should you be lucky enough to get on the legislature, will you sit down and say, let's go and go? Who are you going to say that to? The legislature or who?
Well, we'll form a committee, and then we'll go out and we'll sit down with all the supervisors in the towns and the villages, the mayors, and ask them if they would be willing to participate, and see if we can actually come up with some savings.
We're live on a Friday night. And we have about 45 minutes. It's about 6:45 right now. John Accardo's with us. Phone calls, 333-3020. Put the headphones on. We're going to go to the phones if you
Okay.
want to talk to John. 333-3020. When we pick up, hang on, and we'll be with you. Hi, you're on with John.
Go to Modern's website and look at how many cities and towns in Niagara, Erie County they service.
They service quite a few.
Almost all of Western New York.
Right.
I bet they're a good 80%.
Okay. So do you think that if we did 3 RFPs instead of 1, we might see a savings?
I don't know. I mean, they came out, they gave us more bulk. But you know what? You just said it, John. Your expenses are how high?
Correct.
And your income is so low.
Correct.
Something's got to give.
Right.
Okay?
So-
and I'm sorry. There's no other way around it, but we have to... Look, we can't complain about all the wasted money. It's gone. Right?
That's correct.
We now need to figure out a way to solve this major problem. Now, you talked about the county wanting to share services. There was a plan, and I don't know what happened to it, where all the towns in the county were to get together. It came out of Somerset for hospitalization. Okay?
Yes.
That's a huge, huge savings.
Yes.
They all got involved. So here's where the county comes involved. Toilet paper. You gotta say no way on toilet paper. Come on, Sal.
Well, that's Sal's example.
Well, no, but they're saying you're not going to share services with the workers. You're not going to go to the sheriff department and say, send your deputies in here and save us money on police, because they're not going to go against the city police union.
Joe makes a good point. There is a tremendous savings in health care if you operated, on a larger scale.
Absolutely. Listen, we can no longer nickel dime every budget. Something has to change. It has to change drastically. Now, this user fee, am I against it? Nope, I'm not against it, because you know what? They should have done it last year. If they'd done it last year, you'd already been in your second year of this thing of reducing your deficit.
Rose says it will never happen. The people
No, I didn't
will
say
not
it will
stand
never
for it.
happen. I said the people are going to complain.
Let
They
them voice.
complained last year, but they're going to complain again.
Because Because you know what happened to those last year? They actually raised your taxes 14%.
Oh, I know. Oh, believe me, I know.
They took the 13% out of the budget for the user fee and put it back in plus another 1.5.
Well, Joe, I did the math today, okay, so if you take an average home in the city of Niagara Falls, $77,000, if you add in the 5%, and I'm pretty sure they're talking about 5% tax increase, on top of a $235 garbage fee, it's about a 15% tax increase.
Sure. First, something's got to give, okay? Now, John, you said something to me when I was in your office paying my car insurance.
Yes,
okay?
thank you.
You and your brother were sitting there, we were talking about politics.
Yes.
The first thing you said to me, do you remember what you said to me?
I don't, but go ahead.
This is not the time to be mayor of Niagara Falls.
Yeah, it is not.
And that stuck in my mind, and that made so much sense.
Oh, yeah, Joe,
it's
it's the
not
first
the
thing I
time.
said to you. It's not the time to be mayor of Niagara Falls. No,
Council.
absolutely. Yeah. I had a chance to run for council, before John Spanbauer got in.
John.
I'm sorry?
You like Rasputin.
That's right. But no, it's not a time. It's not a good time to be involved in city politics right now, and I certainly wouldn't have been involved had this county opportunity come up. But right now, I would not want to be running for. I've said this. I've said this privately, Joe, but I'll say it here on the show. I worked very hard. I wanted to be mayor of Niagara Falls because I thought I could help the city out, and I worked very hard at it. But really, right now, if somebody said, "Here, you can be the mayor today,"
No thanks, huh?
I wouldn't take it.
No
I
thanks.
just wouldn't take it. It's just not.
Do you think then that whoever is coming into being the new mayor is not going to be able to change things?
I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a very difficult job.
Where do you
I really
see?
do.
Where do you see the city 5 years from now?
Well, hopefully I see the city on the right track 5 years from now, because the city of Niagara Falls is never going to move forward.
But from what you're hearing,
the city of Niagara Falls is never going to move forward, okay, unless it gets financially stable. It'll never move. It'll continue a downward spiral.
We have to accept the facts. We're going to be paying more for our services. Now, you wrote a phenomenal editorial,
Thank you.
and I talked to you about that.
Thank you, yes.
Now, I've been following this thing in Toronto since the Buffalo News first published it. The economic boom in Toronto is so big, housing, that people can't afford their homes. Why not take advantage of that GO train? And like you said, John, have them market our area for housing, right? And let them move down here. At least now you got people paying taxes.
Right.
Right.
I drove down Center Street today in Lewiston, and I noticed all the businesses that surround Center Street. All those people are, I'm not going to call them well-to-do, but they have spendable income. Let's put it that way. You drive down Pine Avenue and you see 52 vacancies from Hyde Park Boulevard to Main Street.
There's no spending.
And you have to kind of look at the neighborhoods around it and say, they're the hip hop stores and the tattoo parlors and the phone stores.
Yeah.
That's who. So Joe, let's get some of those people, some of those working families from Toronto, or even from Buffalo, to start coming into our city and start spending money and watch Pine Avenue, watch Main Street, watch Niagara Street,
I like the idea, John. I like what you're saying. But my next question again is, how are you going to do it? How are you going to get those people to come?
First of all, we have to let people know that we're here. Okay,
Yeah.
and you know what? And there's a
real
lot.
estate agents.
Well, you know what? There's tons of ways you can do it today. I was going to say, years ago it used to be a TV commercial. Today you can do social media for practically nothing.
Right.
And so you really got to look at. There's a lot of good reasons why people would want to live in the city of Niagara Falls. And let me just say this, okay? We have 4 parks within a few minutes of each other. Okay, 3 state parks, 1 city park. 36-hole golf course, which is in, blocks of anywhere in the city of Niagara Falls. You got a world-class shopping center, great restaurants. You got the falls, you've got the gorge. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for people to want to live here. And,
Gotta market
our
it.
school system here is, we have a good school system.
But those reasons have been here, everything you mentioned has
They
been
don't
here.
market the city. I don't
Nobody's
think,
put it
properly.
together.
Yeah.
Nobody's put it together.
You need to get the real estate board on board with this, and the city economic development department, and start marketing this city.
Have to
And that's
market
what they
it.
haven't done.
And the
We have
county,
to market what we have.
and the county of Niagara.
In the county of Niagara. It has to, listen, this has to be a group effort. All
Absolutely.
right, no one's going to turn this page, but the citizens got to start realizing, through this a cash grab. But you know what? Where are we going to find the money? You can't cut services. All right, you can't do it.
Joe, you stated you're for the fee, okay? And
Yes.
that's fine, okay? But think of think of the businesses, okay? Think of the residents that are simply just going to either abandon their homes or put their homes up for sale and hope that they can get somebody to come and buy it. Because people are just going to go someplace else.
This is not going to be an easy fix, and it's a group effort to save the city. I don't know why do these guys want to run for mayor, but their heart is in the city.
Right,
Like your heart
and
is
you
in
have
the
to,
county.
you have to have a love for, the city of Niagara Falls,
Absolutely.
and I do
I
have a
wanna
love for the city of Niagara Falls.
Listen, I want to see the city turn around.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We talk about this all the time when I call in. We keep electing small-minded people.
Correct.
They have no
Correct.
idea what we've been doing.
Correct.
Now we're in this situation. The money's gone.
Correct.
How do we solve our problem?
And that's why I'm saying, Joe, because we've talked about shared services and consolidating services, but the need was never there. There were just things to say. Now I'm saying the economics now is going to force those types of situations.
Yeah. Well, we buy a lot on state contracts, like vehicles. Those are on state big contracts. All right. But you're right. I think you have to start with the hospitalization. Now, you got a strong background from your brother's business about the hospitalization costs.
Sure.
If we can get everyone on group, just through the whole county, with one health care provider, it'd be a huge savings for the city of Niagara Falls. But we got to get them on board.
Is that true, John? Is
Well,
there?
there could be a huge savings.
Well, how come, and we've talked about this before, why
Again,
hasn't anybody put this?
Because I don't think the economics has ever been there. The economics has never been there to force those kinds of situations.
Well, as long as we have the casino money, it doesn't matter, just do what we gotta do. Is that what it was?
That's what
That's
they do.
exactly right.
That's what they
Hey,
do.
there's a pile of money there. Who cares what it costs? Hey, we just take it out of the casino.
And then ain't no pile anymore.
Yeah,
Well, the pile's gone.
Pile's
yeah.
gone.
Remember,
The pile is now the pile of shit.
So remember back in the old days when before the casino, the city ran well.
It did, yeah.
The city ran well.
It did.
We also had people working too.
Yes.
You had plants open. The revenue was here. People were living in the city. Now you've lost DuPont packed up and they
Sure.
left. Globe, they're gone.
Sure.
A lot of places have left this area because of corporate decisions.
Yes.
And it's left us hanging dry. But we can't have land speculators no more. They have to get on
Right,
board.
right.
Got to start pushing this Mill Street move.
Right.
And you got to start developing.
Well-
and they haven't done it.
Well, again, Joe, if we had an influx of people coming from Toronto because there was a commuter train there, and they're looking, they got money to spend. You watch how fast property is going to move.
So
in some of the
it-
smaller
What's
areas.
been the response to your
I think it's been pretty good. People have
have
texted
people
me,
reached out? Okay.
said,
Has
hey,
anybody
uh,
from Toronto got a hold of you and said, John, this is a good,
nobody from Toronto or from Canada has gotten a hold of me, which I think is kind of interesting, because I think that would have certainly piqued their interest, but nobody has. Joe's point about thinking small is absolutely correct.
Absolutely.
We got to think big, and
Yes.
we haven't had
Yes.
leaders, in the city that thought.
No.
That thought on a larger
No.
scale, that thought outside of the box.
They think like they're running Mayberry.
Right,
And
right,
this is,
right.
like they're Andy and Barney. Okay, well, this is a city, Niagara Falls, that's known around the world. We can't think like that.
Yeah, yeah.
We got to
Yeah.
think kind of like the Vegas mayor thinks.
Right.
You
We
know
got
what
to
I mean?
start
That
working
kind-
with each other. The county
yes.
has to help.
That's right.
The county has to help along.
That's right.
That's $10 million grant for Main Street. Everyone has to work with their ideas.
Right.
That'll be a big draw when we
Right.
start to redevelop that Main Street area.
Absolutely.
We'll start
Absolutely.
creating a tax base.
Joe, I just got
Yeah.
one, Joe, and I don't want to change the subject too much, but I just got one
Yeah.
more point I want to make. The city probably hasn't done an inventory of how it delivers services. I'm going to guess since the mid-'70s, okay?
Jesus.
And so we are still delivering services like it's 1975. And we are not the same city that we
No,
were,
right.
40 years ago,
Right.
35 years ago.
Right.
And we certainly don't have the same level of wealth here
Right.
that we have. So, but along the way, the government jobs, the city jobs have become the sought-after positions. And we're 50 years ago, nobody worked for the city. I mean, you didn't want to work for the city.
Poverty.
Yeah.
It's a poverty city.
Yeah.
We are a city of poverty, and that's one of the major problems. So I don't know what's going to happen, Johnny. You know I'm behind you.
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank
I
you.
wish I could vote for you. I think you got a real good shot.
Thank you.
I really do.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
And hopefully you're going to come out of this thing and get on board. And I know your heart's in the city because you could have left Niagara Falls a long time ago, and you still
Absolutely.
live in DeVault.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
all right, but I'll
Love
let
it
you
here.
go, and listen, good luck, John.
Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
So Joe doesn't mind the garbage user fee. You weren't too thrilled about it, Rose.
Does Joe own property?
I don't believe he does.
Okay. I'm not knocking you, Joe, but I'm just saying, there's a lot of seniors out there. Me, I can take care of it. I'm not concerned. But there's a lot of people out
Yeah,
there
and I
where
think
it's gonna be a
people-
hardship.
I think people will vote.
Gonna be a
They'll vote here
hardship.
with their feet. They'll just leave. They'll just go someplace
Yeah.
else where, they're going to pay less, to live tax-wise,
Yeah.
and they'll have a better, cleaner.
But I love your
community.
idea of, I've said it before on this show. Let's get some of those Buffalo developers over here. Let's get some of those people. Buffalo, the price of real estate has gone through the roof, and it's happened in the last few years. Okay, a lot of people now can't afford even to be there.
Right.
Come
right,
on.
Right, and there
Come on.
are very good reasons why people should live.
Now,
there.
don't we have departments in the county that are supposed to reach out and do this?
Well, we do, but again, the city of Niagara Falls has not had a representative from the majority, and because all the county legislators are all in the minority in Niagara County.
I'm thinking that in New York City, people travel hours on a train and
Correct.
whatever to go to work.
Correct.
Sure they do.
And
When I lived on
what
the
you're
West
saying
Coast.
makes sense, but I don't know why somebody hasn't reached out and said.
Sal, I
There was a lot of
wish
people.
I knew the answer.
There
to
was
that
a lot of
question.
people that worked here that worked. They worked here that lived in Canada.
That's correct.
They used to come over to our factories all the
Right,
time.
right.
So this is not such a
People can live
ridiculous
here and
idea,
work in
but
Buffalo.
And you know what? And we're
People,
not talking about reinventing the wheel. We've got a beautiful train station. $44
There it is.
million
Brand
train
new.
station.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Sits right there on the border. It's all right there. They got the trains, they got the track. We don't have to talk about, if we could build a train station or if they could put tracks
Right, but
in.
there it is.
They're there. It's
There
all
it is,
there.
yeah.
The train runs,
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the encouraging thing is that GO Train in Niagara Falls, Ontario, expanded their summer hours.
Mm-hmm. They did.
So that means that people are using it, and
Yes.
it's operating. So I think they're further ahead.
and the
Plan
housing
to-
costs, are crazy in Toronto, Canada area.
Yes. Extreme.
They are out of sight.
Yeah, extreme.
Not crazy. They're out of sight.
Yeah.
Right.
You're talking about $1 million for like a home on Grand Avenue.
Right.
Right.
That's what it is. I mean,
Right.
not a home on the escarpment.
So a person could come here and buy a really nice house that'll cost them maybe a couple $100,000.
Sure.
And it'll be,
Absolutely.
it's like
Sure.
buying a couple $1 million house in
But
Toronto.
it boosts the property values here. It'll
Absolutely.
boost what people,
Absolutely.
that's
So
what's going on in
so it
Buffalo.
just boggles my mind
exactly.
why.
I-
I like the
it
idea.
boggles-
I like the idea.
Boggles all our minds.
But then again, John,
That's why I'm here.
how do we, well, good, I'm glad. How do you go to Toronto? What do you do to, let's get all these
Well, you
people
know
from
what?
Toronto
I think-
and let's
I
market.
think it's-
How do you
I think
market?
it's a marketing. I think it's a marketing question. I think you put together a marketing plan and you target, people living in Toronto, and you get them to realize that, hey, you know what? I can go to Niagara Falls and buy a house for $100,000. And this is why do I want to live there? Well, we got all these. We got parks, we got recreation, we
How
got
long,
schools, we got
somebody asked me
restaurants.
somebody asked me this today, how long if they had a train that went from Niagara Falls, New York to Toronto, straight through,
About 40 minutes.
that's it?
Yeah.
See, that's
40 minutes.
that's not unreasonable
That's not
in a
unreasonable
situation
at all.
like that.
Not unreasonable at all. I lived in Virginia. I worked in Washington D.C. in the '80s. Okay, and I drove every day 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It was-
Oh, yeah.
it was,
Oh, that,
40
yes.
Yeah.
When I lived on the West
know,
Coast,
yeah.
people were driving an hour and a half,
And, you
2
know,
hours to get to.
And people would say
was
when
no
you
big
lived in
deal.
those areas, it wasn't how many miles to go to a certain place. It was, oh, that's going to take you 15 minutes. That's going to take you an hour. You know, that's how they travel. That's how people travel today in the big world.
Yes.
It doesn't. It sounds easy, but then again,
I know.
we've been talking about.
Well, Joe said it, and he said it a week or so ago, and he said it again today. We've elected small-minded people.
Right.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but we've elected Andy and Barney.
Yeah, I mean, they're just they're not thinking big.
Sorry.
They're not thinking big.
What is the people on the legislature? You're coming up with these ideas. What are the Republicans? What are they saying about your ideas? Are they telling you, John, it's a great idea. If you get here, we'll do. Or are they saying, we
I
thought
got a
about
call
that before?
from the Republican county chairman last week. It's a great editorial.
I've heard a lot about the editorial.
Good. Yes.
Great editorial.
Yeah. And the idea, I mean,
Yeah.
are they willing to get behind this? And
Well, why wouldn't they be?
I don't know.
There's
John,
a lot of people-
John, I look around and I
what?
go,
You gotta
I
have a
don't
plan.
know.
Sal, you got to have a plan,
Yes,
and then you got to
yes.
work the plan. You know,
Right.
you got to fight for the plan. You know.
I mean, there's people that have been priced out of the market, like I said, in Buffalo.
Sure.
The housing prices
Absolutely.
have gone through the roof.
Absolutely.
Things are assessed at $25,000, and they're getting $250,000 for a house.
You know, can you imagine
You know.
a advertisement or marketing, a commercial, social media, or however you want to do
Mm-hmm.
it, that puts together all the good qualities of Niagara Falls. And there
Right.
are a number of good
There
reasons to
There
live
are.
here.
We had Angelo Mornello here the other day, and Angelo said, just basically what you're saying. There's a lot of good things that people are negative instead of
Sure.
looking at the positive.
Sure.
And maybe
But
again,
I don't think there has been a marketing plan that emphasizes
They've
all the.
never,
I don't
they've
think
never
there has
gone out
been.
and said, hey, come to live here in Niagara Falls.
Right.
And this is why you should live here in Niagara
Right.
Falls.
Yeah.
They just had a group of people who used to be from Buffalo that have moved away, and they just brought them back in this past week. It was on the news. Taking them to different parts of Buffalo and saying, come on back, and we're looking for development, and we're looking for this, and we're like, okay. Oh.
There's
Come on.
businesses, there's the business districts in Buffalo, Allentown,
Hurdle Ave.
Hurdle
Look at what's
Avenue.
happened to Hurdle Avenue.
One business closes down. If they do close down,
Yeah.
another one opens up the next day.
Exactly. But they all had their hard times.
Yeah, and
They did.
Pine Avenue, there's been buildings vacant there for 10 or 15 years.
Yes, ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
You have to ask
John,
yourself
I don't
the
know. I
question.
mean, we're looking, we're all looking at each other doing this.
I don't understand exactly. The tourists still come, the traffic still goes up and down Pine Avenue, and then nothing there.
New York State always ranks the lowest in terms of doing business,
Mm-hmm.
state-wise, okay? And Niagara Falls has got to rank at the lowest level, okay,
Yeah,
cities
yeah.
in New York State,
Yeah.
because we are not business-friendly here.
No.
We're not.
We know that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
I
know
always
that.
remember when you and I first started on radio, there was a gentleman that called the one day, and we were talking about the same thing like we're talking now, and this was years ago. But he made this observation, which I'll never forget. He says, if you draw a circle around the city of Niagara Falls on a map and look at everything around it, from Canada to Buffalo, everything outside that circle has developed, but not the city.
Absolutely.
Why?
That's an excellent question.
Canada's
Rose-
developed, Buffalo's developed.
Rose for mayor.
Yeah.
I said, straighten out this crap in 4 years.
That's right.
I'm coming
That's
for the
right.
job.
That's right. But here's the point, though. I'm 64 years old, okay? I mean, 10 years is not that long.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see Niagara Falls while I still got some the wits about me. I want to see it turn around. I want to see it be a better city than it is because we should be.
Think that there's generations of kids that have never seen this city in good
John,
shape.
John honest to
Ever.
God, I understand what you're saying, but deep in your heart, knowing the way things are, knowing how they've been, whether you make legislature or not, do you think you're going to see the city back to how it was in the 50s?
Well, I don't know if it'll ever be like it was. Okay, I really don't think it's going to be like it was back in the 50s.
What can you
But
see?
it's
What can you
certainly-
see changing?
let's get some working families into our neighborhoods.
some people.
Yeah, let's get a population that's, not on social services. I mean, that's who we've welcomed into the city is
right.
people who don't want to work.
That's
So
right.
now 30% of the
Thank you.
people, 30% of the taxpayers in Niagara Falls are supporting 70% of the people that live here.
No, you're right. You're right. And
pretty
no,
basic
there's
stuff,
nothing,
isn't it?
there's nothing against that, okay? There's nothing against that, but
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. When you don't want to work and you can work, because places are hiring. There's hiring
absolutely, this is
signs
the
all over
best
the
time.
place.
This is the best time in a long time to look
So
for
if you
a
don't
job.
want to work,
Yeah,
get out.
yeah, and
Tired of
it's,
supporting you.
That's what it's about. I mean, that's saying it. That's telling it like it is.
we're live on a Friday night. John Accardo's with us. You want to call him, 333-3020 is the number. Dial it carefully. It's about 10 minutes after 7. We got about 20 minutes left. 333-3020. And I'm also curious, do you support raising the garbage fee? You think that'll... well, some people say they don't mind it. There's just a couple of cups of coffee a day or a week, or others say, no way.
Geez, that means Tim Hortons will be less
Wow.
busy in the morning. Then. That's
And we
a good
got two
idea.
more coming, too. 333-3020, that's our number. I like to call this the fun time of year. It's time for entertaining and to visit with friends and relatives and to pick out a special gift for a certain someone. You know what that makes it? It makes it the perfect time to visit Supermarket Liquors and Wines, Niagara's largest liquor store with all your favorites to choose from at Niagara Falls Boulevard and Military Roads. Now, if you want a preview, you can check them out online right now at supermarketliquor.com. They're open 7 days a week, late nights, Friday and Saturday till midnight, with plenty of free, brightly lit parking in front of the store. And there's always plenty of cashiers there to speed you on your way if you're in a hurry. But if you want to browse, it's Niagara's largest liquor store with great gift-giving ideas and selections, whether it's wine or liquors. You know, when you're as big as Supermarket Liquors and Wines, a great gift doesn't have to be expensive. And you can see what I mean when you check out their specially custom bottled tequila and bourbons, handpicked by owner Chris Castellani at Supermarket Liquors and Wines. Supermarket Liquors and Wines in the Mill Pine Plaza on Niagara Falls Boulevard, just moments from the Fashion Outlet Mall. Visit them soon or check them out right now at supermarketliquor.com.
Only your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer has genuine parts, accessories, trained service technicians, and the widest selection of innovative Cub Cadet products. We're here for you whenever you need us, with expert service and support to keep your equipment running at peak performance for years to come. Take advantage of exceptional financing at your local Cub Cadet dealer today.
Stop by your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer, Niagara Lawn and Garden Equipment, today.
Don't forget to see Mike Richards out there. Now is the time to get out to Niagara Lawn and Garden and talk to him about the closeout deals on the mowers. And I hate to say it, but there's some great deals on the new snow blowers coming in for the snowy season, which is ahead of us. Great deals. You're going to be very surprised, and you're going to like Niagara Lawn and Garden and Cub Cadet. Good equipment, and if you weren't lucky enough to buy a Cub Cadet last year and maybe your snow blower's not starting or you need a little work on your
Stop with the
lawnmower
snow.
before it's coming. It's coming. They fix them at Niagara Lawn and Garden. We're John Accardo, and we're talking about his...
And we're getting a headache as we talk because we're like just shaking our heads.
John, people are asking me, and I don't know if you have the answer or you can... This garbage proposal fee, if a person has a building with 2, 3 totes and they don't use them, they're saying, well, you got to pay extra for each one. Can you say, look, I don't use this tote, I don't want it?
Well, my understanding is, and it's just my understanding, is that it's a property assessment. So, whether you say you're going to use the totes or not doesn't matter. It's just a assessment on your property. It's part of your tax bill. on the property.
So if you have 3 apartments in your building and you say, I used one tote,
Well, I don't know how that works, that part of it works.
Yeah.
I don't think they know how it's gonna work
Yeah,
yet.
I don't know the technicalities behind it. But you know what, each one of those apartments is gonna have garbage, refuge.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's 3 separate pickups there. I'm only saying.
yeah, no, I understand that, well, there's some people that called me that have businesses.
Yes.
Now, some of them have like
Yes.
warehouses, storage areas.
Yes.
They say, I do not generate any garbage.
Right.
But they're gonna charge me $200 for, I don't never, ever use it, ever.
Yeah.
I don't
That's what I'm
generate
saying,
garbage.
it's gonna
It's a
be
warehouse
interesting.
kind of thing. Am
gonna
I
be
gonna have to
interesting.
pay that? And can I tell them?
Well, didn't it say in the article even that it tax exempt properties or whatever it said?
Yes.
Which is fair, really, because there are a number of properties in Niagara Falls that are tax exempt. The churches,
Okay.
so-called churches, are tax exempt, and they're not only they're not paying taxes, but we're certainly picking up their garbage and not charging them for it. So for that aspect of it, everybody should pay their fair share.
Mm-hmm.
But
If you don't use a garbage tote, if it's a warehouse.
Again, it's a property.
If it's a garage, say a garage, I know a
yeah, well, if the
person's got a
property
garage.
pays taxes and it pays taxes, then my assumption is that it's going to be charged.
So you can't say, I don't use it, I don't want it, or
I
I
don't
only
think
use,
so.
the one at my house I use, I pick up garbage for somebody, I take their garbage out for them because they're having a problem,
Mm-hmm.
some physical problems, take their garbage out for them. My garbage can will be filled with garbage to the top.
Right.
They'll have one little bag, they're just a husband and wife, you know? So, I mean, someone like that
Sure.
could say,
Right.
I don't need
You know what?
garbage.
Sometimes people like that, they throw like garbage. The garbage comes like once a month. I
Right,
mean, it's
exactly,
like
exactly,
it takes you
yeah.
2 or 3 weeks to even get enough garbage to put it out.
This
Yeah.
should all be interesting, because they're gonna have a public meeting, they said. Oh, it should be interesting.
I'm just wondering if the public meeting is gonna mean anything, or is it like this a cut and dry deal that's kind of done? I'm hearing this is kind of done. People have already been kind of told what they should vote, they know people are gonna complain, but they're,
But if when a new mayor comes in, can they undo it?
Right. Well, like I said earlier, that there is a provision in the city charter that the mayor can declare a deficit, and obviously there is a deficit.
The new mayor coming in
new mayor
January?
January 1st can declare a deficit and reopen the budget, for
How about-
reopen the budget for 2020.
how about people are saying, and maybe you could shine some light on this, there's a cap on how much you can raise taxes.
Right.
Now, they're saying they're going to vote to double the
Right.
cap, and how could they do, if there's a cap,
They could
if you could vote.
I think what they're doing is, I think the state imposes that cap.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what they're saying is that they're asking permission to go over the cap.
Doesn't the
That's
state
my-
kind of
Right.
frown on that?
I would imagine that it would.
Yeah.
I would imagine that it would. So I because I don't know all the technicalities and legalities. It's been a long time since I've been on the city council. I was on the city council in the days prior to the casino,
Yeah,
and things ran well.
ran well.
They ran
Yes,
well.
because there was fiscal responsibility.
Yes, and you had to be. You had to be because you didn't have that pot of money sitting out there, that you can just go grab. Oh,
Now-
yeah.
now we got
hey,
the
don't
pot
worry
and
about
no
it.
money.
Don't worry about what it costs.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just, I mean,
Ridiculous.
look at the courthouse.
Ridiculous.
They built a $20 million courthouse for $45 million. And it's ridiculous that you have a courthouse that size costing that kind of money, and there's a mortgage payment on that courthouse.
Outrageous.
It's
just
I mean, half the rooms in the place
so
are
bad.
empty. They don't use them. And you know what? And you know the thing that gets me about this? You're going to love this one, okay? 80%, probably 85% of the people that pay taxes in the city of Niagara Falls, another 30%, 80% of them, okay, are paying the mortgage on that courthouse and will never step foot in the courthouse. Think about it.
Crazy.
I mean, think about it. When are you going to go to? When are you going to go to the courthouse? Maybe to pay a ticket. You can mail it in. So you're paying taxes here, and you're supporting that place that you'll never step foot in it.
Here's my thing. I've got to believe in this United States of America. There's got to be other cities our size that have found themselves in this mess.
Yes. Yes.
I would love to see our new mayor or whomever reach out to those cities.
Sure.
If those cities have turned a corner to say, how did you do it?
Have you been to Lake George?
No, I've not.
Okay. You know, I've been to Lake George a couple times. I don't know, Sal, if you've been to Lake George at all?
Years ago.
Okay. I mean, it's a booming little community, okay? You know, I don't know how it is in the wintertime, but in the summertime, you know, they're 2 or 3 deep, you know, on the sidewalk. And it's just, you know, regular
Like it is here in the summertime.
Yeah, you know, stores that you shop around in,
Sure.
knickknacks or whatever, you know, however you call crafts or, you know, whatever like that. But, you know, well, I mean, that's what people go for. But Sal, it's busy. You know, there's restaurants, there's, you know, ice cream stores, you know, there's bars, you know.
I'm just thinking because I'm looking, I could check and see how many people are watching. There's 125 people watching the show right now, live. They either agree with everything you're saying or they don't care.
They're probably they agree with what he's saying. They're probably so upset by what they've read today in the paper that they can't even put the words together.
Well, you know what, Sal,
anymore.
they're scratching their heads and saying, well, yeah, why isn't this?
Why isn't exactly?
They're like us, you know. They're going like.
We're at 3.
Could we just take over City Hall for like a few months? Just let everybody go on a long vacation. Everybody. Take over for a few months, straighten it out, and then go back to what we
When you get back, it'll be all straightened.
Oh, my God.
333-3020 in case you got an opinion. What do you think of this garbage thing? I mean, get 125. You see, that's the thing that scares me. You have 125 people watching the show. I don't know, people don't call, whatever. But if they don't care, they don't care.
But see, you take it as they don't care. You don't think people care if
I
all of
don't
a sudden
know.
they're reading articles that say we want hundreds of dollars
I
more
think they
from
would
you
be
for
more
this,
vocal
hundreds
about
of
it.
dollars of more for you that. Come on,
And as
Sal.
we pointed out earlier, and the people really, the 125 people that are listening or watching right now have got to know this. Fees never go away.
No, they
They
don't.
never go away.
See, and this is 125 today, and this will be on till Monday. So
There'll be
you're
hundreds and hundreds of people that'll be watching this.
yeah,
over
you're
the
going to
weekend.
get 3, 4.
And they're all going to have agita.
But yeah, but I don't know. They just like, oh, is it just okay? Well, they're going to put the garbage
No,
fee in.
no, that's not it.
We're going to do. I wonder if people really care anymore. I honest to God, because
you know, that's a good question,
Because John,
actually.
you know what drives it in my mind when you have an election and you have 40,000 voters.
That's correct.
And you get 2,000 to come out. Who cares?
You know why? Because nothing ever changes.
Well, I think
But that's what I'm saying.
They're
The people just give up. They just think we can't
Well,
change
they
this.
give up.
And all these politicians are a bunch of blowhards. They're just going to say,
Well,
that's what,
I mean, the numbers speak for themselves.
What I'd like to know is where the current, those who are currently going to run for mayor, there's 3 candidates, and those who are going to be running again for city council,
Yeah.
where they stand on these proposed fees and or tax increases.
and they're welcome.
I'd like to know on record where they stand.
And they're
Yeah,
welcome
that's
to get a hold of me
a
and
good
come on the show. I'm glad to let them
I
on.
wanna know.
But I'm talking to people and they're going, oh yeah, they're going to raise the garbage. Oh, they're going to. Oh yeah. Oh, that deal's already been cut. Oh, I think they already know what they're going to vote for. It's just like, I'm amazed.
Maybe that's the people you're talking to. That's not the people I'm talking to. I get you gotta beat, and I won't say the word, effing kidding me.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how to respond to that because.
Don't you think people care?
Oh,
that-
I think they do care. No, I do. But I don't agree necessarily that there's been this big deal cut, you know. I think that.
I don't know if there is.
I think
This is. Look, I've heard a couple of weeks ago somebody said, "Here's the deal they're going to push through."
Yeah.
And they're going to raise the garbage tax $200-300, and they're going to they're going to double the cap. They want to double the cap on the taxes, and they want to push reassessments, and they want to do this before the election. And then 2 weeks later, hey, here's the proposal. They're going to raise the garbage thing 200, and they're going to try to double the taxes over the cap, and they might do reassess. So somebody had some type of information that was semi-reliable. I'm not saying this
Well,
is
maybe
going to
that's what they
happen.
were gonna propose. That
Well,
doesn't mean it's set in
And you know,
stone.
the budget, the city budget is due to the council on October 1st. So
Right.
a lot of this may be speculation at this point. I mean, maybe he doesn't put the garbage fee in. I mean, you know.
No, I know, I understand
I mean,
that.
it's time.
Does the state punish us if we go over the cap? Does the state, do you know
I
what I
think
mean?
the state is already punishing us because I think we're over the cap or been at the cap or something
Well,
like
will
that.
they say we're not going to give you your another 12 million then if you go over?
What would you think, I mean, we've bantered about the idea of a control board at some point for Niagara Falls. What do you think of stuff like that?
Well, if a control board, and it depends on what kind of a control board comes in here. There's soft control boards.
Like, is that
and
what
then there's a
Buffalo
hard,
had?
I think Buffalo has a soft control board now, but at one time they did have a hard control board.
Okay.
And they got their act together. They got their financial house together.
John, why do we need a control board? Why doesn't a mayor who's coming in go, if a control board comes in here, we're going to change this contract, we're going to do this, we're going to lay this guy off, we're going to let these people go, they have a definite plan that they go through.
Correct.
So why do we need a control board? Why can't we have a mayor come in and say, the only way we can straighten this out is we got to lay these people off, or we got to cut this, we got to do this, why do we need a control board to do something that America
because
do?
nobody wants to make the hard decisions,
Yeah.
quite honestly.
Well,
Quite
Where the
honestly.
control board comes in.
You know what, a control board...
Independent, right?
Exactly. We could be a control board here. The three of us could be the control board, And they look at the, like I say, you got expenses up here, you have revenues down here.
didn't we have...
How do you balance
They just look
it?
at the numbers,
Yeah, how do you
not the
balance it?
emotion.
Yeah.
Didn't we have years ago some type of advisory?
Yes, we did.
What was that?
Yes, we did. It was the, Tom Darrow just told me the other day about it. The CBV.
Citizens Advisory or something, I
Advisory
remember.
Board or something like that. And it was made up of
Business
the,
owners and that,
well,
right?
it was made up of business owners
Mm-hmm.
and primarily the management of the plants that were operating in Niagara Falls.
Did they do any good?
Yeah, yes, it did. Yeah.
What
yeah,
happened
did.
to it?
It did. Well, it got the city out of the financial problems that it was having in the 1975, where they laid off 14 policemen, I believe, in 1975. And they had to do what they had to do, but they got the city's finances straightened out, got it back on track, and
Why not get these people involved?
well, they're not
Have
here
them
anymore.
make,
They're
no,
not-
but I mean, today, nowadays, why
Yeah,
not
well-
put a group together and say, okay, you come up with the ideas?
Well, you know what? They had a group. They did have a group several years ago, made up of some prominent people, and made recommendations, and they fell on deaf ears.
Jana, we have a few minutes left here, and I want to just
It went by fast.
It
Sal,
did.
I'll
Say
tell
you wonder your
it
word
went
about
by
an
fast.
hour, eh?
Yeah,
Did
you have fun?
Yes, I did.
But I want to ask you about, speaking of, because you're running for legislature, I hear a lot of people tell me, when you go to the legislature, they don't let you talk, or they make
Yeah.
you talk at the end of the meeting.
Right.
What do you think about
Right.
that?
I think that they should allow the people, the public, to speak at a public forum before the meeting. I said that yesterday. I said that the other day, and I'm
You
for
know,
that.
time
you know
limit
how
for
we got,
each one?
how we have this, we're talking about, well, they're talking about proposing this, and they're talking about they might do this, and they might do that. One of the legislators, one of the guys who were running, came on the show and says, I would like to see whatever the legislature is going to consider, go out to the public, maybe on social media, a week before.
Sure.
So they would know what we're
Sure.
going to talk about, so
Sure.
they can come and respond
The
to
the
it.
city council's agenda now is made public days before the council meeting.
I look
And
at the
people
council,
you know,
I look
people
at the
respond
council
to that.
agenda, I look at the council agenda, but sometimes they don't understand it. It'll say, well, for instance, I saw approval to this person for this, approval to this person for that. Well, I noticed that they were city employees, and it was approval for money, and I'm thinking, oh, they have an insurance policy. If their vehicle gets damaged while they're working, they get paid. I didn't realize that, and reading the agenda doesn't really tell me what they're considering, what for and how.
Well, you don't
we want to
yeah.
we want to approve $100,000 for a new roof on this. Well,
Right. Well, they're not going to give the backup material on it, okay? But so that if that's something that interests you, then you go to the council meeting and you find out more about it.
but when that comes up, it's already done. We want to approve $200,000 for this air conditioner. Oh, okay, approved, or this, so,
Yeah.
but then, what was that for? They wanted to put it on the stone house at High Park. Well, maybe somebody thinks there's a better way, or could have been done, or somebody, it's
true.
done though, it's
True.
done, and you don't
Yeah.
know about it before.
Right.
But the legislature, I think that's a good idea.
I think it is a good idea.
What's
I
coming
think
up,
you're
let's,
right. Yeah, and if you put me there, I'm gonna go find out if they can make that agenda public prior to the meeting.
and you are gonna ask for,
Yeah, I'm gonna
speaking at the beginning?
Yes, prior to the meeting.
It's a Republican majority now, you would be a Republican, so apparently, they don't want to change that, so,
Well, like I said, I'm a member of the Republican Party, but the Republican Party doesn't tell me what to do or say. Now, whether it passes or not, but I'll certainly voice my opinion and tell people that I think it should be before the meeting.
I think there's a few that do want that, so I mean,
It could be.
it's possible,
Yeah,
but.
it could be. I think it's fair.
What else? We got a couple minutes left there. What else would you push for, like, if you got elected, one of the first things you would do?
Well, I would approach our economic development department, okay, and ask them to put together a proposal to market the area, market the city of Niagara Falls along with the county of Niagara, and to work up a campaign that we can put out on social media to try
Right.
to get Canadians here,
Oh,
try to get
please
people
do.
from Buffalo here.
Absolutely.
Try to get people from
Absolutely.
outside of the area to come here and all the reasons why they should come here. And, we'd like to see them come to Niagara County, but we especially like to see working families come to the city of Niagara Falls.
Something like that could change the landscape in no time.
And-
It really
and
could.
just a few years.
It really could.
It could.
Really could.
In just a few years. It could really change a lot of things.
Yes.
And especially bring these business areas to life again.
I'd like to see a change come. Hey, if you getting ready for the holiday season, or you got visitors coming over, you need appliances fixed, here's a guy you want to see, Chris Moore, Chris's Appliance Repair. Now, what's so great about Chris? Well, for one thing, he's been doing this for 30 years. He knows what he's doing. He does a great job. One of the things people like the best, the service call is $35. $35 plus the cost of the parts and the installation. Chris's Appliance Repair, 523-5911. I tell people, I do it all the time, put his number in your cell phone, because someday you're going to need it. Eventually, you're going to need your refrigerator, your stove, your wood dryer. You're going to need it fixed, and you're going to want his number. And where do people put their numbers now? In their cell phones. Call your wife, your family. Put it in your cell phone. Chris Moore, 523-5911. I had it all in my cell phone and dropped it in the river the other day, John. and I didn't. My kid goes, "Didn't you back it up? What are you talking about?"
What are you talking about?
John Accardo's with us. John, in closing, how do people get a hold of you? They want to get involved? Whatever.
570-6739 is my number. My office is 2914 Pine Avenue. And if you have a question or would like a sign or, like to get involved, give me a call, stop in. I'm usually there, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
At the Accardo Insurance Agency.
Agency, yes. Or they
Okay.
know how to get a hold of me.
Are you doing any? Fundraising? Are you having any?
I don't.
any
I'm not
rallies,
sure,
anything, or-
I'm not sure if I have. It's getting a little bit late now to have.
We don't have
fundraising.
rallies anymore. We used to have
No, we
rallies.
used to have
Remember, we got a
rallies, yeah.
rally this weekend over here.
Yeah. So I'm not sure at this point here whether I'm going to have a fundraiser or not. I may, I may do something in October, but it's kind of time is getting a little short right
Yeah.
now. And I'm doing a lot of door to door.
I was just going to ask you if you were.
I'm knocking on
Biggest
doors
biggest
every
thing
night.
people are asking or mentioning
Well,
door to door.
Basically, and I've been in the city, so I haven't been out in the town of Niagara yet. But in the city, people are talking about streets, sidewalks, trees, and those are all city issues. And, they talk about, I've been calling for 10 years, and they say I'm on a list. How long is the list? But that's basically, what.
That's still the most important thing to people. I mean, we got these money problems, and that's what
That's
we're
great,
thinking
but
about.
they've got to focus on the bigger
But
issues.
you know what, Sal? I started, I think the first campaign I ran was 1991 or 2. I can't remember now. But you know what? It's funny, though, but the things that when I knocked on doors then.
Same thing.
They're talking about the exact same thing. It's.
But the city around them is crumbling.
Yeah.
John, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sal.
Best of
Thank
luck.
you.
You're
Thank
welcome
you.
back throughout the
Really, it was
campaign.
nice
If you ever
to
want to
be
come
with you
back,
guys.
let us
Anytime
know.
you guys
and-
want to form a advisory committee?
I'm there.
I'm in.
I'm
Okay.
there.
Thank you. John Accardo, ladies
Thank
and
you.
gentlemen.